How's it going, everybody? Welcome to a brand new video. Interesting stuff happening in the cryptocurrency world every single day, and it's very interesting to see the technologies like Stellar outperforming the other. As far as the 24-hour goes, everything in the red. It's Stellar doing fairly decent in the context of the current crypto climate. Obviously, nothing's doing too great if you think about the past like 3 weeks, for example, but overall I'm optimistic. I like to think in the recent time frames, and 24 hours is a good indication of what's happening today. And in particular, Stellar's got some really interesting stuff happening in the news, really interesting attention being paid to it. Facebook meets with Stellar XLM as tech giant eyes crypto blockchain. We look at what's happening with Facebook. Things are brewing in their cryptocurrency division. So this is coming at a really opportunistic time in regards to Facebook, because they're a company that really needs to take a 80-degree turn in a new direction, and ultimately it's going to be cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is really the new haven, the new opportunity for all of these different technology companies. And we're slowly going to see this with the decline of companies like Facebook, the decline of companies like Twitter, and services like all these various old tech giants coming to a decline at the helm of the competition. We're seeing cryptocurrency. It's essentially, if you can't beat them, you have to join them mentality, and Facebook has to invest their interests into their own selected cryptos that they want to work with, and ultimately it's going to leverage the power, because we've seen Stellar and its cousin XRP. Well, XRP is interesting because we see it on the Ellen DeGeneres show, for example. We see it getting promoted by all these mainstream celebrities. You name it, there's usually, and of course the movie with Johnny Depp coming out with about Ripple. So there's a very much growing trend that there's manufactured decision making happening behind the scenes involving these big corporate boardrooms, and how they decide where the conversation is going to go in regards to where people are focusing on these different things. And we've seen associations made between Stellar and the establishment, XRP and the establishment. The banks have to invest themselves in the new paradigm just as much as all these other startups that are leveraging cryptocurrency are going to really make that happen. So it's interesting how Stellar is outperforming the other cryptos right at this time. I mean, 10%. I mean, anybody who saw this coming and was buying some Stellar a few days ago, or ultimately 24 hours ago, you're probably seeing some interesting gains. So congratulations to anybody who's doing that. I always found Stellar to be a very interesting project. I think moving money like email really is a great philosophy as far as the next paradigm and where we're going to be expecting cryptocurrency going from here on out. When you talk about the team that's working on Stellar, and you really take a data analytical approach to analyzing the current variables that are happening involving this space, it's definitely interesting to see how Stellar has been getting their foot in the door as far as everyday usage. People who wouldn't otherwise imagine themselves using cryptocurrency, because one of the fundamental markets that crypto has big important role to play in coming up is essentially credit cards, this sort of digital places where money is already digital. So it's very simple for people who are already using these different services that are already having them managing digital money, which of course is something that leads itself back to Facebook, because think about it, people use Facebook Messenger and send each other money already. So that's the already the rudiments and the beginning workings of the foundational concept of what we can expect to see transactions happening on that sort of level of scale. And then of course when you talk about scalability, we're going to need to have sort of that sort of computing power. So of course it is interesting to see how they would be turning to blockchain, and it seems only logical that this sort of chain of events would happen in this way. I think that this is sort of the path that we will be seeing happening as far as mass adoption of crypto is going as a whole. And of course, I mean, it is interesting. I mean, we're looking at Bitcoin dominance now at 49.1, almost 50% Bitcoin dominance, which is insane. But all things are happening in accordance with the fact that, I mean, because some people were trying to argue that, oh, Bitcoin dominance is up, like things are going good for Bitcoin. But you have to understand that when we see this sort of massive panic across the board, people tend to fluctuate and, you know, move, and of course panic and go up as far as they can, go to Bitcoin, and, you know, because they feel safer, because Bitcoin is essentially, you know, it speaks for itself. It's been around, well established, and so forth. But I also found it interesting to see Dash, the privacy coin, doing pretty well. And let's look at what's doing the best right now. So Stellar, top performer out of all cryptos, you know, across the board. So Stellar pretty much speaks for itself. That's why this video is pretty much about Stellar. And then, you know, you look at it, because Stellar is the number 6 ranking crypto, and then right below it, what we're seeing as far as the 24-hour goes, you find this one, this token right here, and you know, number 60. So I mean, as far as from the top ranking, even Bitcoin, all the way down 60 places, you know, that's how far down you have to go to find another technology that's currently competing with Stellar. But you know, ultimately you need to find you know, how these what are actually happening behind the scenes involving you know, I mean, Huobi token. I mean, ultimately, I think I mean, I was doing some research on the Huobi token. I mean, similar to, you know, Digibyte, and we made videos about Digibyte in the past. And I think that ultimately, when we move forward, though, I mean, if I could give one lesson, you know, in this video, it would be that you know, one educational advice, you know, just educational piece of information essentially is, you know, the technologies, the cryptos with a blockchain are ultimately going to be the ones that outperform you know, the competition. So it makes sense that Facebook would be you know, having their eye on blockchain moving forward. And I believe that the technologies that don't have a blockchain are ultimately going to be the ones that fall by the wayside. Now, obviously, this is going to be good news for some people, and it's going to be bad news for others. And of course, it's going to make people who haven't really done their research panicky, and it's going to make people who've been holding on for this long clutch their fists tighter, and essentially hold on and wait for the ride. You know, it's a bumpy ride, but essentially, what's a couple $1 billion off the market cap among friends? Am I right? But all jokes aside, seeing things taking this sort of downward loop, I mean, of course, a lot of different variables coming into account, but of course, it is sad to see this sort of value being wiped off. But like I said, I mean, this is only a drop in the bucket compared to what's happening involving cryptocurrency on a larger scale. Of course, we're seeing all these different Opera launch built-in cryptocurrency wallet for desktop browser. Cryptocurrency is still going to be a huge part of the future. It has nothing, all these little bumps in the road aren't even going to matter. People will just, it'll be some obscure, days like today will just be obscure references in the history of crypto coming up till this point. Does anybody remember the market dip of July 15th, 2017? Because I'm pretty sure that there are people who are feeling like that was the end of the world back then. Pretty similarly with the market dip back when, you know, February 14th or whatever. Pick any point on this chart of the history of what's happened with cryptocurrency, and there's going to be days similar to today and like yesterday, and there's going to be days in the future when different cryptocurrencies are performing at different rates. But I digress. A point that I want to get across here is that the decline of Bitcoin, if I want to even call it the decline of Bitcoin, but it is a ding that it has taken recently. It was at 7,000, now it's at 6,377. It's pretty much the same story that we've been hearing about Bitcoin for the whole of 2018. The whole time we've been seeing the prices going pretty much either sideways or down, or it's revisiting some pretty low point. It's just trying to creep its way back up to I'm sure that there's people who haven't been involved with Bitcoin and cryptocurrency for as many years as some of the more hardened veterans who I know are watching this video. But of course, I mean, my hat's off to anybody who's just now trying to get involved with cryptocurrency and learn about these things, because it is a very tough space. And I mean, I'm going to talk about Ripple XRP, and I'm going to continue to make content about Ripple XRP and continue to explore the different potential things that are happening involving it. I mean, it is interesting to see how all these different celebrities and so forth have been hopping on board the bandwagon, choosing their select cryptocurrency, but Bitcoin doesn't get this sort of mainstream attention, and that is also something that's worth noting when it comes to seeing how these technologies are acting. And then of course, in this certain market, in this sort of dynamics, which are the quickest technologies to recover all these certain indicators. I mean, hey, I'm not the biggest fan of Ripple myself, but I like to be smart about things and pretty much leave emotions aside, and I think that Ripple fundamentally does have a good team behind it, and a lot of these different establishment connections that are being made involving Ripple and the technology and the greater possibilities that are in store for it. I think that there are a lot of good signs as far as seeing how Ripple dominance could one day in fact replace Bitcoin dominance, and looking at all the different partnerships that Ripple does have lined up for itself. And of course, the long-term perspective for Ripple is looking fairly optimistic, and I definitely do still have faith in cryptocurrency. And of course, it's international variables that lead us to have numbers like they do and the fluctuations that we currently see. And I think that ultimately we will see the market eventually get back to an all-time high perspective, and there's brighter horizons coming up ahead, but it is important to do your own research. And of course, remember, I'm not a financial advisor, so do more research beyond watching this video. Of course, obviously this video is just for entertainment, educational purposes. I'm not your dad, essentially. But all that being said, I mean, I hope that you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure that you're following Ripple on their Twitter, and then of course, if you guys are interested in connecting with us, you can do so by following us on our Twitter. Very easily done. And of course, all that being said, I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. Make sure that you connect with us on Snapchat, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one. And get ultimately forgotten. I would say Litecoin comes to mind, and a multitude of other technologies. But also remember, I'm not a financial advisor. This video is not financial advice. This video is for entertainment, educational purposes only. Remember, I'm not your dad. But all that being said, I mean, I am pretty interested in seeing how Stellar is going to be doing in the future as far as the long term goes. I think that we could definitely see some pretty exponential gains, probably potential for seeing Stellar being moving up in from its current rank. Probably, I would say Stellar has potential to perhaps be the new XRP, and perhaps even have that similar destiny alongside it, because it is a fork off of XRP, as you are aware of. All these different things, similar history intertwined. So it would seem only logical as far as the establishment's decisions go. So just some food for thought, and I hope you guys have enjoyed this content. Make sure that you subscribe to the channel, and of course connect with us on Snapchat, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Have a good one.